Hello folks, and welcome back to the FOZIER'S electronics channel. Today we are going to talk about distribution blocks. Distribution block, we're going to discuss what it is used for, and then we'll go over a few of the distribution blocks that we usually have in our shop here for our in-shop installs, and we'll see what kind of scenarios we will use one instead of another. So first off, the distribution blocks are used to basically distribute power. The name is pretty much self-explanatory. So you use power distribution blocks when you have maybe 1 or 2 feeds from the battery coming to the amp rack, and then on the amp rack you would have more devices that needs power. You might have an amplifier, you might have DSP, you might have sum-up devices, you might have LEDs, relays, and so on. So all of those will need power. Those are the cases where you use power distribution block. So you have 1 or 2 feeds from your battery, and then at the amp rack level, you basically distribute it over to the different devices that you have. We have 3 power distribution block on our bench here. We have the Stinger SPD 570. We have the T-Spec VPN-B2, as well as the Memphis D-Block PJM. So we're going to go over the spec of this power distribution to see what they can do. We have the Stinger. We're going to start with the Stinger here. They are all power and ground distribution block, by the way. So the Stinger over here is a power and ground distribution block, 4-gauge input, 4-gauge output. And it does not handle fuses. So with this guy, you're going to have your fuse uphill, maybe somewhere around the battery, or wherever your source is coming from. That's where you want to have your fuse. Over here, all you're doing is distributing the power to the different devices that you have on your amp rack. So that's what it is for the Stinger. So let's open it up and see what is inside. Let's see, Uncle G. Here we go. So we have a cover. Over here we have our 2 inputs. They are all 4-gauge. So you feed it with a 4-gauge, and then on the output you're still going to have 4-gauge. So 4-gauge, 1 input, 2 output, 1 input, 2 output. You notice that there is no fuse here, so it's straight power distribution. No fuse over here. So like I mentioned before, your fuse has to be somewhere before the distribution block, probably beside the battery or wherever you pick your power. Now, also, since this is a 4-in, 4-out, guys, the one thing you're going to want to know is that you want to make sure that the devices that you're feeding here are both going to pull the current that can be handled by a single 4-gauge, because you're feeding with a 4-gauge and then you have a 4-gauge feed out. So this can get you confused. Otherwise, you will be fine on this side, but over here you will have the cable will be overheating. So you want to make sure about that. It's not like the other options where usually if you have 4-gauge here, you're going to have the 0-gauge option over here. That way your 0-gauge is going to be able to handle a lot more than what the 4-gauge can handle, and then the 2 of them will sum up to give you the current that is handled on the other side. And that's pretty much it about this one. Not much to say about it. So I'm going to put it back together and step in on the side. We'll move over to the T-Spec. Here we have our T-Spec power distribution. 0 or 4-gauge input. Unlike the Stinger, you can feed 0 in and then get 2, 4 out. Or you can feed 4 and 4 in and then you get 4 and 4 out. You also have a ground distribution, which is going to be a 0 in and a 4 and 4 out, or a 4 in and then 4 and 4 out. Let's open it up and see what it looks like inside. Here we go, guys. There's nothing too fancy in there. It's just a power coming in, and then you have the fuse holder. After your fuse holder, your device is going to be powered over here. Same thing on the other side. Fuse holder, your load. And then the ground coming in the middle hole here will be connected to this terminal and straight to the output here. So we have 0 gauge input and then 4 gauge output for your ground. So you can feed up to 2 devices with this power and ground distribution block. So the first device will have its power over here, and then the second one over here. Power, ground, power, ground. There we go. Okay, let's step it on the side and then move on to the next one on our list today, which is going to be the Memphis. Alright guys, part number D block PJM branded Memphis, of course. It's telling us here that it is marine grade 6-way power distribution block. 3 0 gauge or 4 gauge input and 4 gauge or 8 gauge output. We also have a 8, 14 or 16 gauge output. These are for the accessories. So this power distribution block gives us option to power our main devices as well as 4 accessories. Alright, let's open it up and see what is in the box. On a quick note here, guys, we will put the link on the description down below for any of these distribution blocks that is available on Amazon for sale. Okay, let's put it on the side and then move on to the power distribution itself. Really good looking. So we have 3 0 or 4 gauge input. So this will be power and power. This would be ground. Power input, ground input. Moving over to the other side, we have power output, ground output, ground output. So you can feed 2 main devices on your amp rack with this power distribution. Now beside it, it gives you other options for accessories. So let's open it up and check it inside. Here we go. So like I was mentioning before, you have 2 power coming in and then 2 power going out through the fuses, of course. And then you have 1 ground coming in, splitting out to 2 ground out. So the ground is actually fed through this hole. It goes through this hole and then you connect it over here. Now with the power, you can either get 1 0 gauge in and then just add 2 fuses and get your 4 gauges out, or you can have 4 gauge and 4 gauge, so 2 4 gauges in, and then you put your fuses to get your 4 gauges out. That's what it is for the power. Now when it comes to the accessories, guys, you can see here that they have a bridge from the ground terminal coming here up here and then going to this. So this rail, it's a ground distribution over here. And then same thing with the power. We have our power here and we can see in there that we have a bridge coming over here. So over here we have our main fuse for the accessories. So this is the main accessories fuse. So now these fuses will be feeding individual circuits on the board or individual accessories on the amp rack or on the board, whatever you're using it on. Once you have this fuse in, you can grab your power from any of the output. So you can put this extra fuse in and then you get your power there. You can pick your power there and your ground there. You feed it through here. You have 1 accessories. Over here you put another fuse. You got your power here your ground here, and then you send it through this hole here, and you have another accessories. So this device can fit up to 4 accessories and then 2 main devices. So really good idea over here with Memphis. They did a really good job. We love this power distribution, guys, and we use it a lot in the shop here, especially when we have LEDs, relays, and other devices on our arm rack. We usually go with this power distribution block. Really good. So this would be our #1 recommendation if you want our advice out there. If you don't have accessories on your arm rack, we will recommend using the T-Spec. The T-Spec is pretty much the same thing without the accessories. On the heavy gauge, these two are pretty much the same thing. 3 input, 4 output. So 1 input for the ground, 2 input for the power. 0 gauge or 4 gauge on both of them. And then you have 2 output for the power, 2 output for the ground. 4 gauge for all of them. So on the heavy gauge side of this, it's pretty much identical to the T-Spec. Now this one gives you the benefit of adding accessories power for you to power extra devices on your rack. So if you have more than 1 device to power on your amp rack, you have no accessories, T-Spec is going to do the job for you. If you have more than 1 device, or say if you have 2 devices on your amp rack to power and you have extra accessories, Memphis is going to be your guy. So there we go, guys. We are pretty much wrapped up with the video. It was all about showing you guys a few power distribution blocks that we use here, and hopefully it helped you to choose your power distribution block for your next project. Guys, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share the content, and yeah, until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.